Just want to say congrats to the winners. It's another February. It's almost Michael Jordan's birthday. And year after year, they got the world of basketball scripted around Michael Jordan. They even had the world of football scripted around Michael Jordan through Jordan Love. And for all you guys who doubt it, you're going to be missing out for the rest of Jordan Love's career. Keep in mind, Wisconsin's right next door to Illinois. But anyhow, let's talk about how yet again they've scripted a major basketball game with Michael Jordan. We were talking about what they did in the NBA 23 days before Michael Jordan's birthday. Both of his former teams playing, the Bulls and the Wizards, and the Lakers were against the Bulls, the Jazz were against the Wizards. Both teams became 23-23 against Jordan's former teams 23 days before his birthday. In the case of the Lakers game, in that game, they got their 113th all-time franchise win against the Bulls that night. And as we know in Gematria, Michael Jordan equals 113. We call the NBA the 113 League. So last night was the first day of Lupercalia. Last night, February 13th, UNC, big favorite against Syracuse. And looking at their records in the ACC, Atlantic Coast Conference, we saw that if North Carolina lost last night, they would become 11-3 in the ACC on the 113th day of this NBA season. And guess when North Carolina's next game is? It's going to be on February 17th, Michael Jordan's birthday. So they'll go into that game. It's also an ACC conference game. It'll be shown right in their record, 11-3 on Jordan's birthday. And again, college to pro, it's all scripted together. We're talking about the same things day after day, just like how Harbaugh got his 89th win in the football championship this year. Mahomes got his 89th win in the football championship this year. 89's the 24th prime. It's 2024. So, again, right here, just so you can see with your own eyes, North Carolina loses to Syracuse and falls to 11-3. Again, Syracuse also got to 7-7 in the ACC and got their 16th win. UNC has the Gematria 16. North Carolina has the Gematria 77. So you got Michael Jordan in the 113. You got North Carolina in the 77. You got UNC in the 16. And I love that Syracuse scored 44 points on the 44th day of the year because, again, it's Lupercalia, which also has the Gematria 44. North Carolina goes down with 37 in the second half. Jordan equals 37. Chicago equals 37. Wizards equals 37, just for the record. If you're new here, we'll go over the Gematria ciphers because for somebody, there's always somebody new here, how the system works. But yeah, just to go back to January 25th, this was 23 days before Jordan's birthday on February 17th. You can see the Jazz, who Jordan beat in 2 finals, became 23-23, beating his Wizards, who picked up their 37th loss that day. Got to like that touch. And then coming down to the Lakers, they beat the Bulls to become 23-23. And again, the Lakers got their 113th franchise win over the Bulls in this game. And to verify those things, a good website. Well, there's several websites you can use, but Lakers record versus Bulls, including playoffs. They haven't played since that game. 113. 113. So, and again, this ritual went down yesterday on the 113th day of the NBA season, which began on October 24th, 2023. Okay. So, if you're new here, the most simple cipher in Gematria. ABC is 1, 2, 3. D, E, F is 4, 5, 6. Turning letters into numbers, going up to Z, the 26 letters, 26. It's just the alphabetic order. Letters into numbers. Add up the letters of the word or words, the name, to get the numerical value. Michael Jordan, 113. Kobe Bryant, another big 113 star. A star who emulated Michael's career. I'm sure any basketball fans aware of the compilation videos of the parallels between Michael Jordan and Kobe, from the way they shot the ball to the things that came up in their playing career, the parallels, the scenarios. So many comparisons between Jordan and Kobe. And again, you pay attention to the NBA, they're doing 113 rituals left and right. The Kansas City game the day of the Super Bowl. I keep saying that Kansas City definitely playing the Super Bowl. The Kings game the day of the Super Bowl. The Kings used to be in Kansas City. They lost with 113, but the game was highly symbolic with the Super Bowl. Again, Mike Brown came into the game with 271 losses, the 58th prime. That day in the NHL, the St. Louis Blues in Missouri, like the Chiefs, picked up their 58th points of the season. All of sports is scripted. Through this knowledge, you can see right through it. And the National Basketball Association, 113, okay? So many 113 rituals in this league. The name of the cooties, the pandemic, the official name of it, 113. Remember how they had to lock down the NBA on 11/3 because supposedly there was a cooties outbreak with the Utah Jazz player, Rudy Gobert from France, like the Jesuits who run the league and do all the scripting. And again, there's only one team in the whole league that equals 113 with their full name, the same one that started the cooties pandemic, on 113. That's how big of a joke it is. That's how scripted the cooties was. As scripted as your rig sports leagues. That's the bigger takeaway. And for all you guys who can't wrap your mind around it, again, it's just because you're a special kind of stupid. And I'm sorry to say that, but most people in America are. I mean, this nation's just full of morons. Period. End of discussion. No one's rushing the court for rig sports in 2024. I'm sorry. For over a decade. It was obvious for more than the last decade. I've been aware that sports were rigged since I was a little kid in the 90s. God, was it the late 80s? However long it's been. They've been rigged for longer than I've been around. But now, yours truly and other people who've learned from me are putting out definitive proof of how rigged sports are for over a decade. And people still don't know in the internet age. All those phones in people's hands. How don't they know? Why weren't they on today's Patreon cashing checks instead of wasting time rushing the court for the rigged scripted win? They should have been going to the bank to get their money, down to the casino to get their money. Anyway. I just, for the people who come around here, and by the way, Jordan's birthday is February 17th, if you don't know. Oh, by the way, this happened on Lupercalia. If you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Lupercalia is 17/2, like 172. That cipher we just looked at, the alphabetic order with numerology where the NBA is 113, Lupercalia is also 44 to go with the 44th day of the year. Anyhow, year after year, documenting this, proving it, calling futures, just did it again with the Super Bowl. It's like clockwork. And, you still have people hanging around just leaving the dumbest comments. Like, I just want to read this comment this morning. And for all the people who do not understand that humanity is just brain dead, let's just read this comment. You can tell this is someone who thinks they're smart because they can write sentences. But let's just read the logic of these sentences of the person trying to talk nonsense. The first documented use of gematria is from a Syrian inscription dating to the 8th century BCE, commissioned by Sargon II, founder of the Akkadian Empire. Okay, so here's their research. They went to Wikipedia, and what's funny is when I first started decoding gematria, the Wikipedia for the word gematria was so small, it was like a paragraph. Go to Wikipedia's entry on gematria now. It's just paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs of information. But this is one of the things that they've added. So, this guy, he sees the video. He's like, oh, I'm going to go debunk this. Let me go look up the Wikipedia. So, okay, he regurgitates a sentence from Wikipedia. Then he goes on. Now let's watch the logic. So then the follow-up sentence is, you guys actually believe a system made up by a random man at that point in time? Well, it doesn't sound like he was a random person, does he? He founded an empire. This moron probably doesn't know what the word empire means. Is that a random person when you establish an empire? Probably a pretty smart person. And since the system's been around since the 8th century BCE, that means it's pretty well established. That means in the time of this world where people travel and share information and trade goods, that means it could have spread. That means it could have evolved, and it had a long time to. Next sentence. This is literally an idea that was just made up, and now, since you have a calculator, it's just deemed the truth. That's almost as comical as the Bible, a random book written by another group of random men that people deem as the truth. Should I just randomly make up a numerical system that corresponds with letters and make a calculator for it? First of all, we didn't have a calculator when I started, and I did everything by hand. Second of all, the calculator we used was built by somebody who came to my work in 2016, years into already proving my point, at the end of a year where I called every single sports future correctly and Prince's death, mind you. Not to mention, we already racked up a thousand other correct calls, news and sports and beyond. But I mean, these are the brains of the people that live in our society. Like, one sentence leads to another sentence that has nothing to do with anything, which is connected to his baseless opinion and out of ignorance. But this is just like talking to people. It's just like I'm telling, like a lot of you guys are going through the same thing. Sweet lady this year wanted to get real confident with the sports pick. She's got 49er fans where she works. She was telling them the Chiefs are going to win, and she knew it, and they were doubting. Oh, how could you know that? And they know that her sweet man, does this for a living. But then after the Chiefs beat the Niners, then they wouldn't give her any credit on Monday. They're like, well, it was close and it went to overtime and they just barely won. And now the 49ers didn't know the overtime. It's just like, this is the stuff they listen to. Oh, I'm sure the 49ers didn't know the overtime rules. Now, they needed to get the script to 22-25 for 47 total points on the Vatican's birthday, because Vatican equals 25 and 47. And that's why Christian McCaffrey, of course, scored the first touchdown. But anyhow, you just read this stuff and you're just like, God, this is why that they can't get out enough killer jabs. It's too bad this person didn't get one. The people like this, you guys are like, we're wasting resources on these people. They don't deserve to have another bite of food, not another drink of water, not another breath of air. It's too precious for people that are this fucking worthless. Here, let's continue with this stupid jibber jabber. People don't know the meaning of words. Like, you don't have to believe in my work. My work is based in proof and evidence. You can't accurately forecast sports for a decade straight and it still be some chance thing. No, sorry. And what do they have a picture of? A cartoon? That's the thing I get sick of too. All these kids that watch cartoons that are now grown adults still watching cartoons. Generation of losers. Should I just randomly make up a numerical system that corresponds with letters and make a calculator for it? Well, you can do that. That'd be a waste of your time. This isn't a random system. Or maybe even write a book of my own, making up a religion, call it the guide to the world. I'll just make up a bunch of stuff and make millions of people believe it. You know why a bunch of people believe it? They don't believe in my work. They've seen the proof. They have a brain. They say, okay, this is undeniable. Last week, we called out what was going to happen with the Supreme Court before it was even in the news. Why it was going to be Supreme Court in Colorado 38 weeks from the upcoming election for the 38 state Colorado, which equals 38, which has had a gazillion 38 rituals over the years, from mass shootings to rigged sports outcomes. It's not an accident that, for example, Denver, from the 38 state, won the finals last year after LeBron set the 38-year standing points record on the 38th day of the year, scoring 38 in the 38,000 range. And then, of course, the Nuggets went through the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. Then here's their closing sentence. No, it's like, this is also just the product of the modern day education system, but you have to support an argument. You can't write a sentence and then come with a baseless sentence that makes no sense, that just shows that you're dumb. Like, a guy who founded an empire is just a random guy. You're a random guy. You're a random nobody. Just to get words right. You're a random person. You're just another retard. You're just another nobody. You're random. You didn't found an empire. You're just another moron that can't put two and two together. Anyway, a reach of faith and hope to justify the reality of the bad things that happen to the people in the world. Nope. Actually, moron, I figured this out from 9/11 because I said, let's see, a national emergency on 911. This seems beyond coincidence, since I have a brain and I can tell that those buildings didn't come down from fire. They came down in perfect demolition because, look, they were turning to dust as they fell to the ground. They showed it over and over, and every time I looked at it, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Nothing about that makes sense. I'd look at the second building that came down. I'd say, look at how the whole chunk of the corner was blown out of the top part of the building. If the steel got melted and weakened and that caused the collapse, it would have tipped and the top of the building would have broke off and fell down into the other buildings to the side, but it didn't. It just collapsed into its footprint in dust. So I looked at that and then I said, what is it about numbers? Why is it that in 1968, World Trade Center construction began and 911 was made the national emergency dialing code the same year? Why did the sitting president, George W. Bush, graduate from Yale and exit Skull and Bones, the order that recognizes itself as a number. Order 322, also in 68. Why did 2001 A Space Odyssey come out that year in light of what went down in 2001? Why did the New York Jets have their only Super Bowl winning season that year? Because it was a New York Jet after 9/11 that sacked Drew Bledsoe, bringing about Tom Brady and the Patriots at the time of 9/11, the Patriot Act. Because I already saw that the world was full of shit. Like prior to 9/11, George W. Bush became the 43rd president, and it came down to Florida where his brother was the 43rd governor, and his daddy was the 43rd vice president. And lo and behold, in Gematria, Florida equals 43 like election. So, again, careful observation, intelligence, not being a lemming, just going along with the pack of other morons. These are the reasons I figured out the system. The reason this work isn't way more viral is, well, the algorithm has destroyed it. It's been deleted 20-some times. It was very popular in 2016 and 2017 before it got slaughtered by Google. But also beyond that really the biggest piece is because people are like this guy, worthless fucking retards. So if you think anything I said today is random, those of us who are not retards, thank you. Because had all of you guys caught onto this system, they would not be able to continue to do this, and we would not be able to continue to pad our pockets. So on behalf of us with a brain, we thank the random fucking retards, the worthless lemmings, who hopefully got their clot shots and won't be here that much longer. And trust me, if it's like Australia and the UK foretold a couple years back that a lot of people will be disappearing from some phantom heart disease, I'll be looking for your obituary, random guy, and I'll be laughing to the bank about it that day, saying, one less fucking loser. So, anyhow, for all the people who get offended when I do say things like this, I would say you guys also need to get your heads checked. The reason the world is so bad is not really because of the Illuminati. It's because of how shitty your fellow man is and how fucking dumb they are and how complicit with all the agendas they are. Without the legions of morons and lemmings, the Illuminati has no power, okay? They have to mislead through their media and devices and all their bullshit that only really dumb people fall for. I haven't been falling for any of this shit since I was a child. I didn't need Gematria. I saw it was all bullshit when I was a kid, okay? That's the difference between me and the lemmings. And I could see I was surrounded by a pack of lemmings as a child in public school, just wondering why I had to be in the classroom with all these morons around me. And it's not arrogance. It's facts. Nothing's changed. 9/11, all the college kids that I was with, they all fell for it. They all were so angry I was questioning it. Because they're dumb. There's not a single intelligent person who spent $7,000 to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's just dumb. To go to a rigged football league that murders people? How many people got sacrificed this year? Both teams. How many more will get sacrificed? You know what I mean? People are like, oh, it's random. Makes me sick. How pathetic people are. Anyway, happy Valentine's Day, except for to the lemmings. Hopefully today's your clot shot's expiration date. One can only hope. All right, shout out to Mike Rawson. Appreciate it. You're very welcome, Mike. Shout out to Santos Says Media. Says, thank you, Zach. Hit on mini parlay yesterday and nothing crazy. Congrats. And congrats to Rick James. All right, we'll leave it there. And again, I know a lot of you guys, you just think you got to be so, I don't know, you just got to be so cheery all the time and so forgiving towards these people. You don't. The people living on this earth are mostly trash human beings. They're materialistic. They're ignorant. They hate the truth. They cheer against the truth. They hate on people who expose the truth. And they worship, everything this evil cabal puts on. These people need to go. They need to go, and it can't happen soon enough. You want to see the world get better, these people have to go first. As long as you have just legions of lemmings supporting every ill action by the cabal, nothing's going to change. As long as you have people walking the earth that think like this, nothing's going to change. Because this right here, this paragraph of just total bullshit and ignorance and just like pure retardation, this represents humanity right now. That's why we need a clean slate. All right, True Seeker, we'll leave it there. Till next time.